Have you ever tried to pour a cup of coffee in your RV and the moment that somebody walks around, it sloshes out like you're in a boat? Well, you're not alone, and I'm going to show you some common ways to avoid that and to stabilize your RV. I have 3 really good tools that I use on almost every trip to make sure that my RV is stable and bounce-free. They're simple, they're easy, they're not very expensive, and you can have them set up in a matter of minutes to give you that bounce-free, stable RV feeling that you need. Now, if you're used to living in a sticks and bricks home and RVing is new to you, well, one of the first things you'll likely notice is that the bounce and the movement inside the RV can make it very uncomfortable, especially if you're a light sleeper or you're susceptible to motion, or you just don't like that unstable feeling of moving around while you're trying to be still. RVs are known for this, and the reason why is that they're built fairly light. They're built light to be able to pull. That means that a lot of the components on the RV are going to move and they're going to flex. Now, the most important thing for stabilizing your RV, before you even do anything else, is to try and get your RV set up as good as you can. That means have it level, try and keep it low to the ground. If you can't, not always a possibility, but even things like your tongue jack. If you try and raise that tongue jack really high, you're gonna have that pole in there that the longer that you have with that pole, the more wobble you're gonna get in your RV. So if you keep the RV as close to the ground, try and find a campsite that will allow you to do it, or just move around on your campsite a little bit more to find the best spot for getting a level RV and where you don't have to extend your stabilizing legs or your tongue jack really, really far. Now, there's a few main types of movement that you're gonna experience in an RV. You're gonna have your side-to-side rocking. This is gonna be from things like walking around or wind or just shifting weight. You're also gonna have your front to back motion, and this is gonna be caused by things like your tongue jack or the overhang of your bumper. That's where if somebody moves in the back, you're gonna feel it in the front and vice versa. And then you're also gonna have vertical flex. And these are gonna be the soft spots in your RV frame where it's not solidly connected to the ground. So you have your stabilizing jacks on your RV. That's gonna provide that contact point behind that one section of the RV frame. Now, between there and your other stabilizing jacks, you can have a little bit of flex in the frame. Even though you may not see it, you can definitely feel it. And we'll go through some tools that you can use to take care of that. So to help get you stabilized, I'm going to show you and demonstrate 3 different tools that I use today. The first is going to be simple. It's going to be an A-frame screw jack. And these can be used to really help with flex movement in your RV. And that's really to position them between stabilizing legs or other points where it's a little bit wobbly. You can really put these anywhere, but these help by just providing a solid base along your frame. The next tool that I'm going to demonstrate is one of my favorites, and probably what I would suggest would be the first one that you should order, and that are X-Chocks. These are going to go between your wheels, and they're going to really help with that bouncy feeling when people are walking around your RV. That's definitely the first thing that I noticed in an RV, is when people walk around, you feel that movement. These are your best shot at getting rid of that movement very quickly. And the last tool that I'm going to demonstrate is going to be a bumper stabilizer. It's a little bit too big to show right here. This is going to sit underneath your bumper, and it's going to provide that solid foundation in the rear of your RV versus the stabilization that you have from the tongue jack in the front of the RV. So this will reduce a lot of that bumper wobble that you get when somebody's walking around in the back of the RV. Again, these can actually go anywhere along the frame, but I find that it's most useful along the bumper because it is a nice, long, stable platform that you can use. So let's just take a quick look at the tongue jack here. I just want to demonstrate one thing. So you can see on this tongue jack that I have a little short section of it actually exposed. You know, if I had a site that needed to be much higher than this, I could definitely raise it. But the thing to keep in mind is that the more of this tongue jack that you let out, the more wobble you're going to feel in your RV. If you want to do a little experiment, you know, when you're set up and you have a long pull on it, you can go over and you can physically shake the RV and you can feel it move. I also like to use a really sturdy base for this. I have one of these Anderson bucket bases. I don't know what they're actually called. Anderson trailer jack block. These provide a really good sturdy foundation for your tongue jack. You could also use these for your stabilizing legs as well. That also just prevents you from needing to extend them very, very far, and you can just use something like this that will keep them close to the ground. So this is an A-frame screw jack. They're very simple. You can buy them in sets of 4 usually. They're not very big, but the way that they work is that you have a bolt and a nut, and that nut's going to sit in there just like that. And then as you screw this, it will adjust in height up and down, and then this is going to sit underneath your frame, and that's going to provide your level. So no matter what height you need, you can adjust it with this. A lot of times they may not be tall enough, so you might want to use a leveling block to raise it up a little bit to get the height that you need. But again, these are really good solutions for this flex in your frame. For example, if you have a bouncy section in your RV that is away from the stabilizing legs, these are a great thing to put in between there that will keep it nice and stable. So let's go ahead and take a look at how they work. Okay, so to install the A-frame, it couldn't get simpler. You take your A-frame stand and your bolt, and you're just gonna get the height of it almost to where you want it. And then you're just gonna position it underneath, twist around. And you don't need to get it extra tight, but you wanna get it nice and snug in there so that it's not gonna move anywhere. Remember, the goal is not to raise the RV, it's just to provide a solid platform underneath it so it reduces that bounce. And I don't know if you can tell here, I have this installed just on some loose rocks. That's probably not the best option. If you want to use a leveling pad or something flat so it doesn't slip around, that will give it a little bit more firm footing. But as you can see, it's pretty solid in there, and you're going to reduce the bounce quite a bit just from this one stabilizing technique. So the way that X-Chocks work is it is an accordion type of chock. You have a bolt in here that as you ratchet this is going to increase or decrease the width of the chock. So if you have a really wide axle base, these will still work, they'll just expand out. But if you have a narrow axle base, they'll come together very, very closely, and you can get them in between pretty much any axle. Okay, installing the X-Chocks is really simple. And basically what you're doing is you're connecting these two axles, or these two tires together into one solid piece. And the X-Chocks just slide in between the tires like this. And then you're gonna have a tool that you're just gonna ratchet them tight. You don't wanna go too tight, but you want them nice and snug in here. So I normally go in until I get a nice snug fit, and they're not going to move anywhere. So in addition to providing a little bit of stability for movement of the tires in terms of chocking them, which they're not typically meant to chock a tire. You don't want to replace them with for traditional tire chocks. They're going to keep these simple. So the tire can't move without putting pressure on the other tire, and that's going to create a solid foundation. This is really going to reduce that bouncing that you're going to feel from side to side in the trailer. So if somebody's walking around, this is one of the best solutions for keeping your RV stable for that type of movement. And then removing it is just as simple. You're just going to loosen it, and you slide them right on out, and you're good to go until the next time. Now there are a lot of different models of X-Chocks that are out there. They have all different names. This is the original X-Chock by Ball, made in the USA. Super sturdy, will last many, many, many years of use, and I really like them. But like I said, you can find all different ones on Amazon or anywhere else on the internet, and they're all going to work the same way. Now the next product that I want to talk about for stabilization is the Beech Lane Bumper Stabilizer. It actually can be used all over the RV. Most commonly it's used on the bumper, but it's pretty simple. You're going to have these expandable legs, and they'll adjust to the height that you need. For this setup, I need the tallest legs, and then you're gonna have a ratchet strap. You're probably well familiar with these. Now the way this is gonna work is you're gonna put it under your bumper, under your frame, and you're gonna use the ratchet strap to pull the legs together. So as the legs come together, this is going to raise up, and that's gonna provide your platform that your bumper will sit on. So to get these installed, it's really simple. You just put it underneath your bumper. You're gonna take your ratchet strap, you're gonna pull it through, and you're just gonna ratchet it together. As you ratchet it, the platform's gonna come up to the bumper and create a solid platform for it to sit on. And what that's gonna do is reduce that bounce in the back, because as I mentioned before, you don't have a tongue jack in the back, so you get that overhang, which is gonna create that bounce. This will take care of almost all of that bounce. And to release this, all you need to do is release the ratchet strap, provide a little bit of space in there, and then it will pull right out, just like this. Now these are gonna fold up very easily. The legs are going to collapse. You can remove the pins. Now the pins come out very easily, and then you can fold it up. Into a nice compact unit that you can store pretty much anywhere you want. Okay, so that's the complete overview of what I do for my RV to keep it stable. Now, what I suggest is if you have some issues, start with one or two things. I would say start with the X-Chocks or the bumper stabilizer, see how they work. If they solve the problem, great. If you still have a little bit more than desirable bounce or movement in your RV, then try another one. I find that all three of these tools, when combined together in a very good, stable, level RV spot, is going to provide the best results. So if you're tired of your RV moving around and shifting and shaking, give these a shot. Now, as always, if you found something helpful in this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and there's a little bell notification that you can click to get notified when we put out new content. We really appreciate it. It helps out the channel a lot and allows us to do more videos just like this. Now, I have links to all of the products that I described down in the comments. If you do click on one of those links, we will get a very, very small percentage, just a couple bucks here and there. If you do decide to order one, I do appreciate you ordering by clicking the link. It doesn't cost you anything, and it definitely helps us out. All right, well, that's all I got for now. So thank you very much. Safe travels, and we'll catch you next time.